Hi, Nitzel here again with my horse Tucker. And today I want to show you how I'm going to ask or send Tucker away from me and then bring him back to me. This is the last couple times I've showed you different things, building confidence, getting him to move away from steady pressure, moving away from driving pressure. And today, when I ask him to go away and I bring him back, this is going to be the start of putting some of these games together in order to communicate to him what I would like him to do. So if you think of the first 3 episodes as the ABCs, now we're getting into the area where we're putting those letters together and making words so that eventually I can have a conversation with my horse. Since horses communicate mostly through body language, I'm going to use body language in order to communicate to him what I would like him to do. So I'm going to start off today. I'm going to put the belly of the rope on the ground, okay? And I'm going to start off by just rubbing his face, building a little bit of confidence in my hand, and then I'm going to use my steady pressure to back him just outside of my personal space. Okay, so here now I can't touch him, he's outside my personal space. And then I'm going to start with really low levels of energy and then slowly build up to an effective level of energy. So I'm going to start, I'm just going to wiggle my finger, okay? And he's like, oh, no, I don't think I'm going to go back. So then next I'm going to wiggle my wrist. So when I wiggled my finger, the rope didn't move too much. Now when I'm wiggling my wrist, the rope moves down to the ground. Okay, and there I did get him to move. I took a little bit longer, gave him a chance to get the message down to his feet. Okay, now I'm going to ask for another step. Okay. And it's always helpful if you want him to go straight back that you have to have 2 eyes. So I wiggle my finger. So I always start back at the lightest level of energy. There. And level 2 got a foot to move back. Okay. And then as soon as a foot moves, I'm going to relax and release the pressure on it. So now he's going to come forward. I knew he was going to do that. Okay. I'm going to wiggle my finger, wiggle my wrist, and possibly the further away he gets, the more energy. So now I'm going to wiggle my elbow, and there, now I got him to it. Okay. And then I got a little lick and chew too. He's digesting a thought. Kind of thinking about it. So usually licking and chewing can mean a couple of different things. One, he's kind of thinking about what just happened. Another thing is they also are releasing tension when they lick and chew like that. Okay, I'm going to wiggle my finger. I'm not getting a response, so now I'm going to wiggle my wrist. And then if I need to, I'm going to wiggle my elbow. And there we got a response. So he's moving at a level 3 amount of energy, and so that's great. If he still didn't move after I wiggled my elbow, then I would wiggle my whole arm, or I might send some energy down the rope by kind of flipping it and popping it. Okay, and that can be pretty effective too. So it just kind of depends kind of how entrenched your horse is in not moving. And eventually, so when you're first teaching your horse to do this, you want to take some time, give them a long time to, at each different level of energy so that you give them time to think about what's going on. So it's kind of like, oh, she's wiggling her finger. Oh, now she's wiggling her wrist. And pretty soon he's going, oh, and I didn't really like it when she wiggled her elbow. So at some point he might go, maybe I should move when she wiggles her finger. If you don't ever seem like you're progressing into lighter and lighter levels of energy, it means you have not really come to an effective level of energy. So after a little bit, when they kind of understand what we're doing, I might offer a really long wiggle of the finger, so he can kind of like, yes, she's wiggling her finger. And then I might progress through the other levels of energy quicker so that I can get to the effective level. And, one that he's like, oh, I didn't like that. And then pretty soon he'll go, maybe I should move when she wiggles her finger. Okay. And so that's how you get them to be really light. Usually, if you have to go to the higher levels of energy, you don't have to do, if you're effective, you don't have to do it very often. Sometimes it's just a reminder, but you don't want to go through the levels quickly in the beginning because you want to give them ample opportunity and to understand what the different levels are. Okay. So anyway, I've sent him back. Now the next part of this is I'm going to bring him back to me. So I'm going to just, with my hand kind of open, I'm just going to kind of take up the slack in the rope. And then I didn't even have to take up the slack. So, if, let's say, he didn't come back, or he was hesitant to come back, or entrenched in, like, I don't want to come back, what I would do then is once I take up the slack in the rope, I'm going to slowly close my hand and apply a little bit more friction to the rope until we get to a point where I'm holding it pretty firm. If some horses are kind of like, yeah, I ain't coming in. Then what I would do is I would take up a power position and then get a firm grip on the rope, but you want it tight enough that they're kind of uncomfortable, and just hold there and just and just wait them out until they're kind of like, well, this is annoying. And then the second that you get any kind of movement forward and basically at that point, if you're just holding firm, you're not taking up any slack, you're not really giving them any, they will then come forward and they will actually release the pressure themselves. So then they learn that if I come forward, then I get rid of that pressure, behind my ears and, on the nose or wherever the halter is putting pressure on. So we'll do that one more time. Going to rub his face first. You never, when you're doing this, just like when we were doing the steady pressure, you never just want to kind of go at their nose. If you do that, you're going to start getting horses that get real evasive. They're going to be bopping their nose all over the place. So the best thing to do here is rub their nose. And sometimes I like to hook my thumb underneath the halter just so I can kind of keep two eyes on me. Okay, just kind of guide their head. And then I'm going to put my hand on either side of the bridge of their nose and just lightly ask them to go back, get him outside of my personal space. And I'm going to start wiggling my finger, wiggle my wrist. And there is a little step back. And then wiggle my finger. And also too, I'm tightening my core, kind of I like to, the analogy I like to use is like a puffer fish. If you know what a puffer fish is, they blow themselves up and make themselves big and kind of spiky. Okay? I want to envision that I'm a puffer fish and I'm blowing myself up, pushing my energy spikes out at it. Okay? I'm going to wiggle my finger, wiggle my wrist. Okay, now he's not going, so I'm going to wiggle my elbow. Okay? And when I wiggle my elbow, the energy goes down the rope and all the way up to the halter. When I do level 2, it's just wiggling down to the ground. It's just kind of warning them it's coming. Wiggle my finger, wiggle my wrist, okay, wiggle my elbow, and make those back. Okay. Wiggle my finger, wiggle my wrist. There, now he's going, okay, didn't like level 3. Wiggle my finger, wiggle my wrist, wiggle my elbow. Okay. Let's see if we'll go. Wiggle my finger, slack on the rope with my hand open unless he gets a little bit stubborn and doesn't want to come in. So anyway, that's basically sending him back and then bringing him back to me. This is kind of some of the reasons that this is a good maneuver to do is, first of all, teaching them to be, or it's your ability to get them out and away from you. So if I have a horse that's kind of freaking out over something, I'm going to wiggle my rope and get him out at the end of my rope so that he's not being freaked out on top of me, okay? And so get him out a safe distance, okay? Also, too, if you have a horse that bites, backing cures biting, okay? First of all, if he's back there, he can't bite you, okay? Also, too, backing up is kind of a submissive posture, so when a horse is biting you, they're being dominant, and so by backing them up, you're saying, I'm in charge, okay? And we don't want it to be a dictatorship, we want it to be leadership, and leadership just has to be a 49-51 ratio. So you don't have to be a dictator. You just need to be the one in charge and the one with the good ideas, and and they need to take their direction from you. Okay. Also, too, this is a really cool way to teach them to ground tie. So if you saw, I got him back to the end of my rope. The rope is just still on the ground, and if I let him stand there long enough, and if he takes a step forward, I'd say, nope, put it back. And then we'll stand there for a little bit more, and as soon as he takes a step forward, say, nope, put it back. And so I can influence him from a distance and be able to get him to kind of like a sit stay. So get him to park him back there and have him stay there, okay, until I invite him back in. So, and there's a lot of other cool things that you can do with this. This is also the beginning. If, like, next episode, when I show you the circle, then we can actually use this idea of wiggling the rope to affect transitions on a circle. So I can transition him up, and then I can transition him down. So, and like I said, we'll go over that next episode. So, anyway, Diane Nitzel with Tucker again, and hope to see you in our next episode.